Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
This is Mr. Chris Claremont, a legend.
Melanie goes,
Tired.
how's it going, all you mentees? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for your advanced look at the Marvel Universe by Arthur Adams Omnibus. We're going to be talking about what exactly is collected in here and where you may have seen it somewhere else. So, let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. So what we're looking at here is the latest Marvel Universe by a particular artist book. This one here happens to be by Arthur Adams. And this book is due out in the direct market and book market on December 5th or 6th, depending on where you get your books. And before I go any further, I do want to thank David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us an advance copy of this book. What we're looking at here is the standard edition cover. This is the one that's going to be available everywhere. And it has a really nice surprise, or at least I thought it was a really nice surprise. But that surprise is not found on the spine. But let's look at this really quick. You have the Marvel Omnibus logo, Marvel Universe by Arthur Adams. Over here are the collaborators that worked on the book with Arthur Adams, like mainly the writers. Like you have Chris Claremont and Anna Senti and also Tom DeFalco, Bill Mantlo. It's a little hard to see, though, because the text isn't bold. And here is an amazing image of Wolverine. Now, in the back is what was a nice surprise, because I've seen this image for so many years. And maybe you have too. Here we go. Here's the image. Now, this is an image that originally came from the Marvel Holiday Special I think it was 1991. But instead of Arthur Adams, it was Santa Claus there. But Arthur Adams and the editors at Marvel decided, hey, it would be a good time for you to actually draw yourself in here. So he was really happy to include himself in there with a walker. And there's a little bit of behind the scenes in here. Now, I mentioned this being the standard edition cover, and it is supplied by Arthur Adams. On the left-hand side is your direct market only variant, and that's the one that's only available at places like cheapgraphicnovels.com, waltzcomicshop.com, comicsbugle.com, dimebreedcollectors.com, bdcosmos.com, organicpricebooks.com, Tales of Wonder, In Stock Trades, and places like that, or your local comic book store. But everything underneath the dust jacket is identical, so we will shift the focus back to this. So I absolutely love the fact that they added Arthur Adams right there. That's nice. And here are the flaps from Longshot to top artists of the Marvel Universe, and then the creators here on the right-hand side. Not just Arthur Adams, but like I said, people like Anna Senti, Louise Simonson, Walter Simonson, Chris Claremont, Tom DeFalco. I like this too. This is a really nice art on board. So what you have, no pun intended, I swear, is the pencils to the classic X-Men number 7. The spine showcasing a black and white picture of the classic X-Men number 1. And then over here are the inks. So that is a nice touch. I like that about this book. Now, we're going to crack this open. I'm not sure. I don't think there's really any spoilers I'll be talking about, just because there's so many different series that are put together in this book, from Longshot all the way into the 90s. So none of them really are super connected, or any big things that will require spoiler tags are happening in them, but mainly showcasing the artwork and a little bit of behind the scenes. And what makes this so special compared to the previous releases, and I'm going to tell you where you can find some of these stories and do a quick comparison to something like Uncanny Omnibus Volume 5 to see what the art looks like in here compared to that. Okay, let's go ahead and crack it open. We have some red end sheets there. Marvel Universe by Arthur Adams. I kind of like the contrast here between this piece and the red. And Arthur Adams with all the credits right here. I love the fact that they remind you that it is Arthur Adams, but I get it. Sometimes you have to do that. And all the writers that he worked with, and the inkers, the colorists, and the letters, and the editors at the time who played a big part in his career. You know, there's a lot of unsung heroes when it comes to some of these creators. and your table of contents here where you're going to find each of these issues, including some of the covers. But what mainly is collected in this particular omnibus, and then we'll jump right in here, talk about the intro, is Longshot 1 through 6, the New Mutants Special Edition number 1, X-Men Annual number 9 and 10, Cloak and Dagger number 9, X-Factor 41 and 42, Excalibur Mojo Mayhem, and Fantastic Four 347 to 349. And it also has material from Web of Spider-Man Annual 2, X-Men Annual 12, and Annual 14, and Fantastic Four 358, as well as the Marvel Holiday Special number 1. Now, here is your introduction by Frank Cho. Now, there are other stories collected in here, like 1 or 2 pages, like tryout pages that are not mentioned in there, but that is the big bunch of what it really is in this omnibus. The book has 1,200 pages and retails for $125. Your introduction by Frank Cho, who talks about how big of a fan he was of Arthur Adams growing up, and then getting to know him later on in life. And this is collected and put together in chronological order, including his early work, even though you didn't see this pinup right here until, I think, 1988, I believe. Actually, they do tell you here, 1988. Yes! This was sent to Marvel Comics when Arthur Adams was 19 years old, and they kept it in a portfolio. And then this comes from the sample pages that Dennis O'Neil and Linda Grant got from him, and they asked him to come in and do a little short story. This is for Bizarre Adventures, the black and white magazine. However, the magazine was canceled before this could be published. This was supposed to be 3 pages. The first page has never known to have shown up anywhere, so it is lost. Maybe somebody out there has it. And then sample pages made it around the editorial staff. Carl Potts took notice, and he put him on a Defender's job doing layouts, and then doing finished pencils. And I thought that was really cool. And they gave him some pointers, and actually you can kind of see where things are going here, like making people's faces a little bit different. That's what the job of an editor is, right? To guide you, not to tell you, hey, you're doing an awesome job, everything's fine, don't fix anything. We seem to forget that from time to time because, you know, I don't know. I mean, very, very territorial when it comes to my favorite writers. Like, who in their right mind would ever tell Chris Claremont what to do in X-Men? But a good editor is supposed to do that. I will never forget those words from Fabian Nicieza. Fabian Nicieza told me that there's only 3 scripts of his entire career that were untouched. And I was like, oh, that's a shame. And he was like, no. That's exactly what a good editor is supposed to do. Good editor is supposed to change your spelling, change some of the story, change some of the characters, because they're supposed to fit everything and snugly put it together with the rest of the universe. And I thought that was such a cool, eye-opening experience for me, learning a little bit behind the scenes with what these writers and artists have to deal with. So they were kind of coaching him on like how to make his art better. But they knew there was something special there. They knew that this guy would eventually blow up, bringing in that manga and anime flair to that Michael Golden look to his style with his own cross-hatching. I love his art. He is one of my favorite artists. And this piece right here, wow, even though it was a corner box, here it is fully in a splash page. I'll never forget this page right here from the pinup from Doctor Strange. So this is put together with some pinups that he did, and people were getting to know his art. But his big project, his real big breakthrough, came in the pages of Longshot. But he was preparing for Longshot by making house ads. This is some behind-the-scenes stuff right here. This is a pinup of Ann Nocenti, and Ann Nocenti right here, super editor, with the teddy bear man in the back there. Covers, and this was actually pulled. Yeah, this is from their 1984 pinup at Marvel Fanfare. The Defenders cover right here with Mike Mignola on inks, and then we get to Longshot. But I love the way that this is put together. Like in the X-Men Omnibus, of course, you jump right into Longshot. These things right here are in the extras. But in this collection, you get a little bit as to what is coming in Longshot from the Marvel Age number 29. You get the house ad, and then you get issue number 1. And the issues they are reprinting here with the red frame with actual images from Arthur Adams' art. They are the direct market versions of those issues, which is very important if you know the story of Gog and Magog and, of course, Longshot. Sometimes they put in the original sketches and penciled art next to the covers if they have them available. And I'm not really going to talk about the story of Longshot. I think I've done an overview of Uncanny 5, so I know I've talked about this enough. And honestly, it's one that needs to be read. It is written by Anna Senti, but because of her, because of editors like her and Carl Potts and Dennis O'Neill and Linda, they knew that this guy had something special. They just needed to tweak his art a little bit, and sure enough, he did. And this is all inked by Wills Portacio for the most part. There are a couple of other inkers that step in, like I believe it was Bob Wyzek. But Ricochet Rita is actually based on Ann Nesenti. That's how much he loved that editor. That's how much he loves her to this day. Quark shows up through here. Of course, the introduction of Mojo, and I said I would not talk about the story. Sorry. Here is a piece that is not done by Arthur Adams, but this is done by Carl Potts. And this kind of gives you the pitch of Longshot, who he is. And then you see the actual progress of the character. Like you see the art, the behind the scenes, the concepts artwork here, where he took Carl Potts' idea. Because Carl Potts comes from a background of advertisement and art, and not just an editor or writer. Great writer. I would love his Punisher collected in omnibus format one day. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This was Carl Potts' design, and then Arthur Adams took it, tweaked it, and made his own, adding his own little modifications, including the people that live in Mojoverse. Some of the stuff you've seen in, for example, the Uncanny X-Men Omnibus 5. Some of it you've seen in the Longshot trade paperbacks in the past, the Marvel Premiere, and the Big Thick Trade. But some of it is brand new. Some of the pencil stuff, some of the layouts, some of the sketches, I have never seen. So this is going to be a big surprise for anybody that's getting this book for the extra stuff like this, for the love of Arthur Adams, and doesn't really, mind that the stories aren't in chronological order, although they are put together in here in chronological order. Lots, and I mean lots of thumbnail sketches. And I love that. And you go from thumb to rough sketches to actual pencil to ink. This is some of my favorite stuff that they could add to any book, not just Arthur Adams. I love this stuff because if you're ever trying to become an artist, you get to see and actually admire what some of these guys do so well, from composition to panel layout, and of course from this to the finished product. It's just amazing how some of these people's brains work, how talented some of these folks are. And then we move on from this. I love this right here, the evolution of Dog, or what was it? Pup is what they called him. But he would also change here in the little direct market corner boxes. Then, of course, we have the special edition of New Mutants, which is the Asgardian Wars. It's been collected in an oversized hardcover. It's also in the New Mutants Omnibus Volume 2. It's also in the Uncanny X-Men Omnibus Volume 5. So this stuff has been collected a lot of places. As a matter of fact, there's just like, I think, honestly, a handful of issues that have not been collected anywhere else. And people, please correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll talk about those here in a little while. This one here just kind of breaks my heart because this is Heroes for Hope. This issue has not been collected anywhere. Epic Collection, Marvel Masterworks, we're past that point. Or Omnibus Edition, and I don't think we'll ever get it collected, mainly because it was one of those books that was put together for it was Africa? Yeah, it's a famine relief and recovery in Africa, where you had people like Harlan Ellison and Stephen King come in and like write one page, and then there were different artists working on the book. But seeing it here, just I was like, oh, that would have been so cool to have collected somewhere. Even though he didn't do any internal pages. Character designs for the character of Shadowcat when Kitty Pryde became Shadowcat, New Mutant Special Edition, and this is not just character designs, but also artwork, like concept art for the designs of these costumes that they were going to have that would eventually become their ongoing costumes. Like, I don't think Arthur Adams knew that he was designing costumes that would forever be in the X-Men lore, that lots of toys would be made from. Not during his career here. Later on, yes, you get the pencil, the sketches for some of the covers and internal artwork. And then you have Heroes of the Marvel Universe. So you're going to see some covers here. This is one of my favorite covers of all time. As a matter of fact, when we did Matt My X New Mutants, this is the cover that I thought would make an awesome direct market cover. I know her face is not really great, but I just love the body and how she's holding the Hellions, or actually the New Mutants dressed as Hellions. But it is inked by Bill Sienkiewicz and art by Arthur Adams. Here's the cover to Firestar. There might be covers here that you've never seen. This is the Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man annual number 2 that features the New Mutants. So this has been previously collected before in the New Mutants Omnibus Volume 2. The Cloak and Dagger issue, which is also collected in the Cloak and Dagger Omnibus. Some covers here. And you can always tell, like, when Terry Austin, Will Spertasio ink his stuff, when he's inking his own stuff, just how much details there are compared to, like, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody like Bob Wyzek, but you can tell when it's not him that is inking his own stuff. Then we move on to, of course, the classic X-Men era. So you have not just the cover, but also the title page that are collected in here. And I want to say, yeah, this is issue number... I was wrong. Somebody take my geek badge. It was issue number 7 that was the cover. I said it was 6, didn't I? Sorry. You can stop. Unsubscribe. I'm out. I got nothing to add. I'm a poser. That's what happens when I didn't reread everything. All right. You can see the difference in the inks here compared to, like, when he's inking his own stuff. Oh, I forgot to talk about this. So there's every single page that he drew for the Handbook of the Marvel Universe is in here, including pages he didn't. But if we're talking about Longshot, and Longshot goes to the other page and it bleeds through over here, then you're going to get whatever character's there. But this is P. Craig Russell, who's an amazing artist, but inking his Arthur Adams stuff. But you can tell the difference in just the lines, how thick they are, and just how much detail Arthur Adams puts into his own work. That's another one of my favorite covers. I just love the angles. And I promise we're not going to be looking at all of these, just some of them. Then we move on to annual number 10, which is the second real appearance of Longshot and where he ends up joining the team. And this was added to the Omnibus of X-Men 5. I'm sure people remember that ordeal or not. Maybe they don't. Okay. I announced the Mutant Massacre Prelude. Prelude to the Massacre. I really wish they had used this right here as the variant cover, because I love this. This was a poster I had in my room, I don't know, for over a decade. All through my middle school years. Oh my goodness, I think maybe in the 5th grade is when I got it. So before middle school, all the way past high school. When I left for college, I came home and I started taking down my posters, throwing them away. And that one broke my heart, because when I took it down, because it went to college with me for my first year, I had to toss it, because I had ripped it on accident. And I don't know. I don't know why the hell I'm getting all nostalgic over a poster. I had a lot of, like, ladies on my wall, but the X-Men were just something special to me. Like, I remember that and the Quesada, was it Quesada and Rogue and Gambit poster? But this one was so special. Anyway, I would have loved to have seen this used as the variant cover for that omnibus. It was my X-Men growing up. I had it on my wall because it was a reminder that one day I would love to be working in comics. One day I would love to be that good. Arthur Adams had a lot to do with that, and my love of comics comes from people like him. This is a piece that is inked by Barry Windsor Smith, and see what I mean by Bob Wyzek. It's a lot different than that, right? I mean, this actually kind of looks like a Barry Windsor Smith face if you look at it. So I love when inkers add their own flair to people's artwork. And this is from annual number 12, and this is the one that's inked, I believe, by Bob Wyzek. And then from there, we go to the very interesting story of Alchemy. So this is X Factor 41 and 42 that are collected in here. These are 2 of those issues that have not been collected anywhere else in omnibus format. So please correct me if I'm wrong, though. This was supposed to be a New Mutants issue written by Louise Simonson for the winner. Like, create your own mutant. And this, whoever won, they actually tell you right before it starts here, who ended up winning the contest and how it was delayed, and instead of being in New Mutants, they had to move it over to X Factor. And Anna Santi actually has a story behind that. But the character that was created was Alchemy. And my favorite connection, I don't care, I'm sorry, it's my channel, but I love mentioning this in case people are new to the channel or have never heard the story, is that Alchemy, the next time you're going to see Alchemy, are in the pages of Excalibur. Long after, and the Trolls and Alchemy. Which is Joe Madureira's, like, early work. And you can see the inspiration Joe Mad had, like, he took from Arthur Adams for his artwork. especially in those issues. And it's really cool to me that the next time you see Alchemy and the Trolls are in those issues of Excalibur. And those are featured in the Excalibur Omnibus Volume 2. I'm going to come back to this page to talk about the binding of the book. This is page 777, so let's remember that. We have covers here. This is one of the oldest trade paperbacks I had of Longshot, long before there was a Marvel premiere. All the intros are in here. You also have the Mojo Mayhem, which is the super special from Excalibur, which introduces the character of the Agent. So Mojo's back, the X-Babies are back. But let's keep moving here because we have the next thing is Days of Future Present. This is the crossover with Fantastic Four, New Mutants, and X-Factor, but this is part 4 of 4. Since this is a collection of just artwork, really, they don't really give you like a summary of what happened previously. You just jump right into the art by Arthur Adams. But I love this issue. I love this particular annual crossover. So you have archives here, like original art, original pages, sketches. Like some of this stuff, like I said, I've never seen. Some of it came just for this particular collection, like heritage auctions, and people donated scans and stuff. This is definitely a love letter to Arthur Adams from Marvel, right? Like it's just the Marvel stuff. There's no Godzilla stuff from the Dark Horse era or any of his DC stuff. Who knows? Maybe one day somebody will put up another collection like this somewhere. But it's really cool to see all of this stuff, all of my childhood and behind the scenes that I've never seen before. And just when I think, everything has already been collected, while the stories have, the sketches and the thumbnails and the penciled and inks have not been collected. Not like this, not in its entirety. So it's really cool if you're a fan of Arthur Adams to own something like this. Let's keep going a little bit here because we got to talk about the new Fantastic Four. This is the other 3 issues that have not been collected anywhere else. This is by Walter Simonson when he was writing the Fantastic Four. I would love a Walter Simonson omnibus one day. But this has artwork by the legendary Arthur Adams. And I do believe, and I'm sure, I don't know about if this is true or not. Arthur Adams is a huge fan of kaiju. That part is true. I think most people that have ever met him at conventions know he loves giant monsters. Giant monsters from Japan. Loves them. Loves the Jack Kirby era of monsters. So I'm pretty sure Walter and Louise Simonson talked him into drawing these issues because it took place on Monster Island. But the coolest part for us kids, when we were kids, was, oh my gosh, the Fantastic Four are dead. What? They've been replaced by Spider-Man, Wolverine, Hulk, and the new Ghost Rider? Dude, sign me up! Of course, you can find out for yourself if they're really dead. This stuff has been collected before in Epic Collection, but not in an oversized format. Oh, and it's so beautiful. You have the second printings back here, and then, of course, the finale. With a special guest appearance by you'll never guess who. And then some of the features from the trade paperback collections. The Fantastic Four backup story here from this die-cut cover. This has been collected, I believe, in Epic Collection before. And then this is the original page, or the original cover that they took for this. And then he just cut out Santa Claus and put himself in. So this was a nice surprise. But fear not, the original covers here left completely untouched. And then we have the few pages that feature Sue and Franklin back here, drawn by Arthur Adams. There's a lot of art in here. A lot of sketches, a lot of pencils, a lot of inks, and then layouts. So let's get to the... that's so freak, man, to actually own that. The inks here, for example, are done by Art Thibert. There are some really cool things that I didn't even think about that are collected in here. And one I got really excited about in particular. Alright, so let's actually get there. I'll tell you why. So we have the trading cards, which is awesome. This is going to mean a lot to people. It meant a lot to me that they're collected in here. But you also have the original art of said cards. Not just the actual card, but the backup here, the little back piece. Those are collected in pencils as well. Now, what I think is really cool, though, these are awesome. Don't get me wrong. Those are great. This is from Marvel Superhero Calendar. Here's the Chef Boyardee. Some people are going to get excited about that because I forgot that he did those can art for Chef Boyardee, including the connecting cards, the mail-away pogs. This, I did not expect to find this here. This is from the Capcom Marvel Superheroes arcade cabinet. This was the piece up at the top of the cabinet. This was the piece on the side. This was a nice surprise. This was cool. Because as a kid, you know, you went from the X-Men 6-player Konami game to the not-so-good LJN Nintendo game to the amazing fighting game X-Men by Capcom. And then that made it into the Marvel Superheroes. And then, of course, we had X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes versus Capcom. And that's all she wrote. But this was the second game in that series. And then we even have things I didn't know about, that he helped design some toys for Toy Biz. The Hulk toys. And I love the size comparison. Where was she? Was she Hulk? Yeah, right here. That they use my buddy Wolverine for scale. All right. Then we get the Monsters Unleashed. This is part of the Toy Biz line, where the monsters weren't huge, but they were big. And then you had like 2-inch little versions of the Marvel superheroes, and they came with box art like that. This is for the Universal Studios Islands. They did 3 characters. An homage cover to, of course, that classic X-Men, featuring the characters from the Age of Apocalypse. The penciled artwork for the Chef Boyardee and the Marvel Superheroes arcade cabinet. And then these are the new colors for the different collections, the trade paperbacks they've had over the years, including that one right there, which I know I've seen before, but still, I love it. And then this is the story behind the scenes as how they got the dust jacket. It's very cool. Pretty much replacing Santa Claus with that guy right there. All right, let's look at the binding. So we have 1,200 pages. It is sewn binding. This book is printed at the iMac printer. And I wanted to go back to... Okay, well, this is a spread page, but when we're looking at clouds, you know, I need faces. So let's go back to, what was it, 777, right? It's not like I can stop recording, rewind, and... Yeah, because that's always easy. That was sarcasm. Okay, here we go. So I wanted to go back to this. We're, you know, more than halfway through the book. But this is the way the book lays over, and there is gutter loss. Like, even if you hold it down, there's still minimal gutter loss. You can't see both of Wolverine's eyes. You can barely make out that that's Richter and Rain back here. And that's mainly due to the binding of the book. So there is some gutter loss. And one other thing, since this is a white page, is there is some bleed through happening, as you can see from the opposite page. Like, you can just see the letters right there over Wolverine. See? Loves kaiju. But it's not just in the white, but also some of the lighter colors. So if it's got light colors, there is bleed through. And I noticed it mainly towards the beginning, because there is a lot of... Here, let's go here. Yeah, there's a lot of white pages. Like, you can see some of the Marvel... What was it, Fanfare, maybe? Is that what that says? Yeah, Marvel Fanfare. So it's more noticeable when it's white or you have lighter colors. But darker colors, yeah, you can't really tell. And again, this is not me being nitpicky. It's just me trying to notice things for people that I know it bothers. So there is some bleed through. As a matter of fact, this is a good page. Let's do a quick little comparison to the Uncanny 5 Omnibus. Also printed at the iMac printer. Here's the frame compared to this frame. And then, well, honestly, paper stock seems a little... Actually, it's just a little bit, not a lot. It's a little thicker than the paper stock here in the Uncanny 5. Colors seem to be just a little bit lighter over here, but there seems to be a little more bleed through in the Uncanny 5 printing than the Marvel Universe by Arthur Adams printing. So, just trying to be as thorough as I can be. Yeah, it's just a little bit more noticeable. So if you noticed it here, you may notice it here. The other thing I was going to say that I do appreciate is that no matter what whenever you're reading these, or this book, that they tell you behind the scenes, the stories behind the pinups or behind the portfolio that he sent. And I really appreciate that. But that's it. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this omnibus, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltzcomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Waltz Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this book. Let me know in the comments down below if the Marvel Universe art of books are your cup of tea, if you like artist-centric books, or if you like creator-centric books, like writer-centric books, like the Peter David Hulk Omnibus, or if you're waiting for all of this to be collected in their appropriate series. I would love to know all those comments down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We are on Spreadshop and Patreon. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. And that's it, everyone. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.